Cale Yarborough. Well, the field is up between turns number 3 and 4, getting set to come down. A huge crowd on hand, and we are absolutely delighted you're with us, and we're set for another season of Winston Cup racing here on ESPN. Marlin has jumped into the lead. From outside, row number 1, the pole sitter Jeff Bodine is running a few car lengths behind in second. Battle for third position, Ernie Irvin looking to the inside of Ken Schrader as they run down the backstretch. Irvin with the inside position. Let's see what happens as they go into the third turn. Irvin backs off. Schrader maintains third.
But here comes Irvin back on the inside as Schrader slips up a little bit. That's a good place to pass on this racetrack now. It didn't used to be that way.
And now Alan Kulwicki looks to the inside of Ken Schrader as they head into turn number 1. Again, they'll file into single file formation, and Alan Kulwicki does pick up the spot. Brett Bodine now right behind Ken Schrader and Michael Waltrip in the bright yellow Pennzoil car. Running alongside Brett Bodine, and Waltrip picks up the spot.
When these cars get positioned on the other cars, when they get on the inside of them going down the straightaways, the fellow on the outside just simply has to back off and let the other car go in, especially this early in the race. There's only one group getting in these corners at this stage of the race.
Inside the Mark Martin car, the Channel Lock race cam with the pictures. That's Harry Gant just ahead. Dale Earnhardt just ahead of Harry Gant. As Mark sets the car in turn number 3, now turn number 4, headed for the front stretch.
Mark's in 10th spot. Harry Gant started 5th. He's dropped back to 9th spot. Mark has picked up 2 spots from his 12th spot.
As you can see well up front, Sterling Marlin still holds the lead here in the Transouth 500. Now we'll look back on Darrell Waltrip. Davey Allison behind Darrell. They move up to about 165 miles an hour before going into turn number 3.
Harry Gant slipped going in the corner and all kinds of cars going by.
Both surprising. Harry Gant drives this racetrack as well as anyone, and everybody thought he was going to be one of the cars to beat. And he might be as time goes on. Maybe the car is not quite right for him at this point. Here's Ernie Irvin now. It's called Jeff Bodine.
This is second and third. Jeff Bodine, car number 11, the Budweiser-sponsored machine, and Ernie Irvin in the Kodak Film Chevy, running in third spot. Right behind them is Alan Kulwicki. Alan Kulwicki in the 7 car without major sponsorship, although he's still carrying Hooters on the car.
He talked like that Hooters would be on the car for the next 2 or 3 races, Bob, if he did not find someone to come in for the rest of the year.
That, of course, a chain of restaurants, especially in the southeastern portion of the United States. Look at the advantage that Sterling Marlin has on Bodine and Ernie Irvin and Alan Kulwicki.
Looks like Bodine's found a better groove or a different groove because Ernie was pushing him a moment ago. He put 3 or 4 car lengths on there of his car.
Let's go to Jerry Punch with a report on the car that's currently leading this race, driven by Sterling Marlin.
It has been a tough morning for the Maxwell House crew. In fact, Sterling's car just barely got to the starting grid before gentleman's start was given a little bit ago. They came to the racetrack and found that the harmonic balancer had slipped on the crankshaft. They had to change the engine about an hour and a half ago. The new engine they put in, the sump pump wouldn't work. They had to struggle to get a new sump pump put on that engine and barely get the car to the starting line. And just a few minutes ago, when they rolled the car off, they were hoping maybe all their problems were gone. Nuh-uh. Sterling just radioed into Mike Beam and said, hey, we've only got 2 pounds of fuel pressure. They're hoping here in the Maxwell House pit that it's possibly a gauge malfunction. That's all it is, but what a day so far for Sterling Marlin.
Marlin, of course, has never visited Victory Lane in Winston Cup competition. Hopes to do so this afternoon about 4 o'clock Eastern Time.
Then it would be tough to run that long with only 2 pounds of fuel pressure, so it does sound like it might be a gauge problem.
It better be a gauge because he's going to burn a piston pretty soon. There's no way they can push enough fuel into the car. The requirement, the fuel that's required on 2 pounds of pressure.
Sterling Marlin in the Maxwell House Coffee Ford is leading the Transouth 500 here with 9 laps out of 367 complete. We're glad you could join us here from Darlington International Raceway in South Carolina. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. And by Suzuki, your Suzuki dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. Here are the top 10 after 10 laps at the Transouth 500 from Darlington. We'll be back with more of our live coverage after this.